Alrighty then, welcome back. We are looking at this universal design piece. You'll see a video up here, and this is universal design for learning. What does that look like? Okay, here's an introduction module for you to read about it. It's really simple, and this is a great video for you to check out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the PowerPoint at the moment, just so we have some basic understanding of what universal design is. Okay. Let me just download it. Oh, you know what? I'll just run it through this way. I think this is pretty straightforward. All right. Did you ever have a class where you were bored to tears in every class, so you didn't pay attention? And I've had this in my seminars actually, while I was sitting where you guys sit. I couldn't stay up. And it really has to do with the functionality in the brain. So there could be many reasons today we look at the brain, and as instructors, that's us, how we can use this knowledge to engage our students. And so what we're going to do is break down the brain, a little bit of brain science for you. And that's what universal design for learning is really about. So we're going to describe the concepts of UDL. I'm going to identify resources available for continued learning, identify parts of the brain and their functions, and brainstorm ways that technology can support what we know about the brain and learning. Okay, so here's some origins of universal design. It originated in architecture, and it had to do with the design of buildings and accessibility, and superior to retrofitting buildings. So we wanted to improve how people access buildings and consider people in wheelchairs, consider people with learning disabilities, and how they may not only access buildings, physical buildings, but then also be able to exit them safely. And so we need to understand how to accommodate diverse individual needs. And so therefore, universal design became a really important aspect of what we do. And so we had to build ramps and curb cuts and electric doors, right? And you press the accessibility button and it opens up the doors. Put captions on YouTube. Keyboard controls are now changed because we needed to address the needs of individuals and their learning and how they made sense of the world around them. And so universal design is the idea that we can all benefit. Okay, we all should be able to benefit. It shouldn't be a one-size-fits-all model, and we should be able to create adaptations for alternative opportunities. So design from the beginning. From the beginning, we think about these things, and we increase access and opportunities for all people. And here are the three principles that you're going to need to learn, right? Lock this in, write the notes down. I might move fast. Multiple means of representation to give learners various ways of acquiring information and knowledge. Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit more. Multiple means of expression to provide learners with alternative ways for demonstrating what they know. Number three, which is actually number one, it looks like, multiple means of engagement to tap into learners' interest, offer appropriate challenges, and increase motivation. So here we go. So you know how we do project-based learning? You know how you can make choices on what you build and how you build it? You know how you get to make choices on what educational tools you get to use? Ta-da! Here's why, right? And so that's why this course is taught a little bit differently than most, where you get to make most of the decisions about how you want to build meaningful artifacts. Brain research. There's a strategic network, an affective network, and recognition network. The recognition networks aligned with the 5 sentences: hear, smell, touch, taste, and hearing. I said that, and smell. Strategic networks is how we logistically strategize and organize our procedures. And affective has to do with the emotion. Okay, so here we go. Back half of the brain, sensory pattern recognition. We gather facts and recognize familiarity. This is what the 5 senses are all about. So in the brain, we have a recognition receptors where we are leveraging and using our 5 senses. And this is how people make sense of the world. Some of these we need to understand are better than others. Some people have better sight. Some people have better hearing. Some people have better taste. Some people have better touch. Some people have better smell at all different levels. Okay. So we asked the question, how can technology support these recognition networks? Well, I'm just going to give you a couple of answers. This is why we use YouTube, we use caption, because we want to attract both the audio and the visual and different layers of that. In our first couple of assignments, we did a podcast that was for hearing, and then we did a movie. That's the next one. Well, that's for both. Ta-da. And then there's your web quest, right? So you have some interaction happening there. Then we have affective. And so the inner core of the brain focuses on the emotion, the feeling, the interest and excitement, evaluate what's important. Well, this is the portion that we use when we are tapping into people's interests and motivations and allowing them to make choices, and then supporting those choices with support, right? So kid likes Bakugan. I just can't get that out of my head because my kid loves Bakugan. And so as opposed to saying that's junk, that's trash, keep that out of my my classroom, we say things like, that's interesting. I wonder if we can get books on Bakugan. I wonder if we can talk about the color of the Bakugan. I wonder if we could talk about the shapes of the Bakugan. Then we can tap into their emotional awareness and engage them where they are. Strategic. Now we're talking, this is the frontal lobe. Now we're talking about the organization, the higher level thinking, the strategy, the logistics. And these logistics are different given different people. They organize things differently. If I were to ask you to create a hierarchy for me in terms of an outline on a piece of paper, some of you would use bullets, some of you would use numbers, some of you would use letters, right? Some would be A, B, C, A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. Someone would use 1, 2, 3 Roman numerals, and then maybe 1A, 1B, 1C. Okay. Leaving that open for you to do and organize for yourself is critical. And this is why in your lesson plan, I ask you to order your steps. Some people say step 1, step 2, step 3. Some people just say 1, 2, 3. And some people use bullets, but it needs to be organized so that you understand and you can communicate to someone else how to strategically organize your lesson sequence. Boom. All right, central role of tech. Tech is an assistive tool. UDL is a barrier-free learning environment by using assistive tools. Okay, and there are tons of them. Game controllers can be assistive tools. They use different type of controllers for different access points into games. So for example, Xbox has this very special two-pad, two-tone kind of controller for their games. We go text to speech. We have special keypads, especially for those that are blind, and so forth and so on. Universal design and education's all over the place. Look at these pads and colors and entry keyboards for computers, but we create a philosophical and actually a physiological framework for design of educational products and environments. And so CAST is a source for you if you want to learn more about what type of UDL projects exist out there and can be used. And Patent is another one, especially for Pennsylvania. Okay, so forth, so on. And that is how UDL works. Boom.